When you triple geometry, you convert polygons that have more than 3 points into 3-point polys, into triangles. There are several tools in LightWave that allow you to triple, and each kind of has its own use, and I thought we could go ahead and take a look. I'm just going to start by creating a flat plane. I'm going to go ahead and kill those extra segments. Okay, just using the arrow keys to do that. Raise it up, raise this up. Okay, so this is a 4-point polygon. 1, 2, 3, 4. And if I want to, I can convert it into 2 triangles. Let me select the polygon, come over to multiply, under subdivide, choose triple. And what it does is it looks at the geometry and figures out how to turn it into triangles. So a lot of times people are confused by, when you hear triple, you think of 3, and so you think that it's going to take a polygon, a 4-point polygon, and convert it into 3 triangles. But it really only converts it into 2, and of course, depending on the number of points you have on your polygon, will determine how it's going to triple it. So if I go ahead and create, let's just create with the sketch tool. I'm going to create a shape. I'm going to freeze it into a polygon. Okay, so we've got lots of points. Now, if I triple that, which is Shift-T or multiply, triple, I'm going to hit Shift-T. What it does is it looks and figures out how can it convert this polygon into multiple triangles. So it just selects each point and connects 3 points to make a polygon. Now, this looks like a bit of a mess, and you want to be careful about working with the triple tool or tripling your geometry, because you only do it when you need it. And well, when do you need it? Well, sometimes you want to take a polygonal mesh, you want to take polygons, and you want to displace it. Say you want to create ocean waves, you want to have just nice rolling waves. If you had a bunch of 4-point polygons, you run the risk of those polygons, while they're being displaced, you run the risk of them flipping because they don't know which way to face. At render time, it's rendering triangles. So let's take a look at that. I'm going to just grab another flat plane, and I'm going to make just a few segments. And let's come over to Modify, Jitter, and I'm just going to jitter these points. Okay. Now, this one looks backwards, looks inside out. It's actually, excuse me, it's actually non-planar. And non-planar meaning, we'll come back to this in just a second, just so we're all on the same page. What I mean by non-planar, I'm going to use the arrow keys to get rid of those segments, is if you have one point that doesn't share the same axis, that's a non-planar. Think of a polygon as a piece of glass, and you couldn't take a flat piece of glass and raise one corner. It would break. Well, polygons can break, and sometimes you can get away with just a subtle non-planar, and LightWave will know which way it should face at render time. But if you end up with something that looks like this, which sometimes you might want to jitter the geometry, especially using displacement maps in layout. Well, it doesn't know which way the polygon should face, and sometimes you think it does because OpenGL is handling it, like this one right here. See how this point is kicked in? Okay. Well, right now OpenGL can display it, but it doesn't mean that at render time it's not going to be flipped. Like, it might decide that half of it is facing one way and half is facing the other. The way we get around this is Shift-T, and then I'm going to take these and flip them. Okay, and take this and flip them, just using F for flip. Okay. The thing about a triangle is it's impossible for it to be non-planar. Okay, no matter which way I move the point, the polygons are always going to be planar. So tripling geometry sometimes helps fix, well, it always fixes non-planar polys because triangles can't be non-planar. You don't always want to just triple all of your geometry. It can be unsightly, like we saw earlier, and just harder to manage. But there is a time where you're going to want to work with triangles. Okay, so this is one example of why you'd want to use triple, but there's a couple other triple tools that we should probably know about. I've created 3 sets of the same geometry. So we've got a disk. I just used the disk tool, and this has fewer points than this. This is your standard with 24. Okay, and I want to show you 3 different ways of tripling. With this first set, I'm just going to hit Shift T, which is the same as coming over to multiply, triple. That's what we've been using. Okay, and we can see that it breaks the polygon up into triangles. Now it's a kind of a random pattern. It's just looking and going, okay, I've got these 3 points will make a triangle, these 3 points will make a triangle, and then same here. We've got more points, therefore we have more triangles. But if you want a little more order to your to the triangles that are going to be made, there's a couple other tools. I'm going to select these 2 polygons, come over to multiply, more, and use fast triple fan. And what that does, you can see it's a completely different pattern. What that does is it creates triangles, but all the triangles share 1 point, so you get this fan shape. It fans out from this 1 point, and you can see it here as well. It fans out from this 1 point. Okay, now depending on what you're building would depend on how you want to lay out the geometry, but knowing that fast triple fan will have all the triangles connected to 1 point might give you the setup that you want rather than having a random pattern here. Okay, if I grab the last set and come over to multiply, subdivide, more, fast triple traverse, okay, now that's a different pattern. It's a lot more organized than triple, but what is it doing? Well, let's take a look. It's easier to see on this one, but what it does is it starts creating triangles from the outer edges and works its way in. So as you can see, it grabbed the outer edges, created a triangle, grabbed the outer edge here, created a triangle, and then the next triangle it could make was 1 step in. You can really see it in play on this one that had 24 points. It created triangles right here. I'm just going to select a few of them. Okay, it created triangles along the outer edge, but then it said, okay, I still have geometry that's not triangles. So it worked 1 step in, and that's when it created these inner triangles. Okay, and then once it had those, it still had some geometry that it needed to deal with. So it created these inner triangles, and then of course the last step was this one. So that's the fast triple traverse tool, and it works from the outside edge in. So now we have 3 triple tools, 3 tools that will triple our geometry that we can choose from, and we can use the standard triple, which just will randomly triple the geometry. It'll just find the points and start drawing triangles, start creating triangles. We can use the fast triple fan, which all the triangles that are going to be created are going to share 1 point, so it builds a fan shape. And then we have fast triple traverse, which works from the outer edges in. So that's just a quick look at tripling geometry, and now we've got 3 tools in our toolkit that will allow us to do it.